So let's switch over to our spoilers discussion, full spoilers discussion on the Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 4. This was by far the best episode that we've gotten so far. From beginning to end, this episode was absolutely insane. But Jordan, I want to start with you. I want to know, like, what were your overall thoughts on the Falcon and Winter Soldier up to this point? Just your general thoughts.
My general thoughts. I jumped in episode one, seeing Sam Wilson doing the dog fights. Yes, inject it right here, please, right here, please. That's how I felt. I thought finally, he literally has got wings. I thought I've been waiting for this dude to become the Falcon that we all know and love, and he wasn't getting the airtime that he needed in the movies. Now the dude is flying. I thought, yes, this is it. And then since then, it's just gone at a nice pace. I feel like the way that the characters have unfolded, the way that we've got a nice insight into, it's like put a full stop. Captain America, Steve Rogers, Captain America, he's done. And I feel like Winter Soldier, he's done. He's moving on to different things. And seeing that story unfold and being like, okay, this is the journey we're taking. I've been like, yeah, I can get behind it. I like them as characters in the movies, and there's always those ones you want to see more of, and I think these were definitely two where I was like, yeah, I wanted to see more, so I'm happy for sure.
Yeah, LS?
You know what? Yeah. How do I say this, fam? There's a thing where I didn't really care for these characters, yeah, and I really didn't. When a member of Team Shade of Red was like, I don't care for flipping Captain America and his little friends, and I was like, you know what? Do I care for these characters? Do I? But then as I'm watching, the more I'm starting to take a liking to them, and not just them as a duo, but them as a trio. Now with how do I say his name?
Zemo, yeah.
Zemo, yeah.
Zemo, yeah.
Like they have done more for Zemo here than they ever did for him in Civil War, and it's just like seeing their dynamic. This guy who's almost like 100 years old, this guy who's living now, who was the closest person to they all three of them have a connection to Captain America, whether they viewed Captain America as a farce, whether they viewed him as their best friend. And I just love seeing their dynamic and how they all brought together. And even though they have conflicting ideologies, they're all going for the same thing. Like you think Zemo, like, when I saw in this episode when there was a serum there, I honestly thought Zemo would be the one to take one. But no, he smashed that shit to speed. Yeah, he smashed it to pieces. Like he don't want that anymore. So in a way, I can see they're all in the same they all have the same ideals, and I just like to see them come together. So I'm impressed with it so far. I can't lie. In this episode, it was taking a turn that I didn't think would happen. And it's a lot more for a Disney Plus show. It's much more gory or like graphic than I thought it would be. Like you're seeing people like literally die. And I feel like that's what the MCU misses, a bit of death.
Mm-hmm.
And you only get a death if it's important. But like you're literally seeing people getting killed left, right, and center here. And I don't know, I feel like it's a nice take for Disney as they're trying to progress into this new how do I say that, PG-15 type of thing. They're moving away from their PG morals, and they show that they can be a bit graphic. And if this is how graphic they can be now, what happens with things like Deadpool, etc.? Like they're just trying to ease their fan base into it, I guess. And I feel like this is a good way to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, remember, Blade has to be pretty gory, man. Like, you can get away with a lot with PG-13, if you will. You can get away with a lot of it, and I feel like you said, like, they're getting us ready for that kind of gory violence that we will get later on in the MCU, because you can't just have kid gloves the whole time. But I've been loving this series from the very first episode, that opening sequence with Falcon flying around in that dogfight, like you were saying, Jordan. Like, that was amazing. Watching Bucky in therapy, just trying to deal with everything that he's been through, being pardoned as an Avenger and being able to be free. But what does that mean if he's still like locked up in his mind? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like, I should have known from WandaVision that this would be more of a character story instead of just like a straight up comic book show. And I love it, man. Like, I love watching these people. As this series goes on, I love how, and I'll talk about this a little bit more once we get deeper into the episode, but I love how this series shows why Steve gave Sam the shield, bro. He is just a regular person and a good man. That is exactly what Erskine told Cap. You can have all of these great abilities. You can be this great physical specimen. You could be just like Gilmore Hodge, the perfect soldier. But what makes Captain America is being a good man. What is the last thing that that Steve tells Sam at the end of Endgame? You're a good man, Sam. He told Sam that he's a good man because he is the symbol that we need, bro. He's the new symbol that we need. One of the flag smashers in this episode says that the people need someone that looks like them, that understands their struggle. And Sam does, bro. That's why he's the symbol. He's the new symbol of America, of the world that we need. He is that hero, bro. And I love what the show is doing with that.
For sure. I think it's setting him up again for the destiny that from the moment that he came into the MCU, you're like, okay, cool. This is an interesting character. I want to see how this guy develops, and I feel like we've been waiting for the development to come, and Endgame pulled the trigger, and now this is now the, you know, we're seeing what that means for Sam and his character and where he can go. And when you're juxtapositioning Sam Wilson with John Walker, you love Sam Wilson so much more, because I can't stand Captain America right now, man. I can't do it.
I will never call him Captain America. He
the
is John Walker.
Disgrace.
I actually kind of like him, bro. I can't lie to you.
No.
I kind of like him, bro.
All right, LS, talk to me.
I don't know, bro. Like, bro, in a way, bro, I don't know what it is with me and flawed superheroes, fam. Like, I'm not gonna lie. If I was a girl and she was a flawed superhero, I'd probably love her to bits, fam. I can't lie, fam. But I don't know what it is, bro. It's the fact that he's just a flawed person, bro. Like, how can you give someone the mantle like that? And you've seen him try to cooperate with Sam and the Winter Soldier, and they're just not having it. Maybe it's because they have this like sixth sense. He's not ready for the mantle, but who really is ready for that mantle? Sam wasn't. Bucky wasn't, and he was given this opportunity. Like, imagine if you was an American soldier and someone came up to you and I was like, you know what, James, I want you as the next Captain America. Are you gonna tell me no? You won't.
Yes,
you won't.
I will.
You will. You're a liar, bro. You're a liar, bro.
I'll tell you why. I don't feel like I can be the symbol of hope for an entire like world of people. Like, that's not who I am as a person. Like, I can aspire to be a great hero. Like, I would definitely want to help people. I would definitely want to be an Avenger, but to be the symbol of Captain America, I don't think that I would be the right fit. And that's why Sam gave up the shield in the beginning, because he didn't feel like he was that fit to be the symbol at the moment.
I feel like he didn't think he was that fit either. Like, he said he was a regular man, and when they listed the things that he did do, and it was a good parallel to things that Steve Rogers had done before he was before he became Captain America. And I feel like how do I say this? He's a good person, but you're seeing what would happen if you don't have the mantle mentality. Like, this episode, he's just gone on a butcher and he just killed that guy in front of many people. And it's like, bro, that is the reality for most people. How many Steve Rogers are you going to find? But in a world where they need a Steve Rogers, you have to find the best. And he's just the best, maybe, of a bad bunch.
He was the best physically. Like, he was a perfect physical specimen, but that doesn't make you right to be a symbol. You can be a great soldier and not be capable of being a general. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, John Walker should be someone that takes orders, and he needs someone to rein him in. He can't be the head. Like, that's not the position for everyone.
And I think there's a race here thing, because you going on there, I think Lamar would actually make a good Captain America.
Yes, he was a good man, a genuinely good man, and John Walker was great friends with him, because I feel like with Battlestar seeing the goodness within John, it made him feel like he was a good person. But I don't think that he actually is a straight up good person. He is a not so great person trying to do good to prove that he can be. He joined the military in the first place and went to Afghanistan to try to be a good person. He's constantly trying, and he's not there. Like, Jordan, what do you think?
You know what? To be fair, I never really thought about it that deeply. I never thought about Lamar's character that deeply. But that's because I feel like every time you saw him get into a fight or anything, he was never holding any weight. He couldn't hold no punches. The dude was getting thrown around like a ragdoll the whole time in all of the fights. Yeah. Both him and Captain America to show how inexperienced they are, how new they are too. I just feel like they're always getting beaten up, and I was like, this ain't my Cap. This ain't my battle style. I want a sidekick that's a little more tasty. You know what I mean? But I think I'm enjoying how Lamar is now again shot the gun for Captain America's next stage of development. Like, this is it's unfortunate it had to go this way. RIP my boy, but it's like it's now given us the next jump off point. Like, okay, what happens next?
Yeah, but
how big of a force was he on?
Is he any different to, say, Iron Man then? Because it's so much parallels. Black best friend. You think they died, so when Iron Man fought Rhodey died, he was straight onto Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Like, you saw a turn in him, and I feel like that's the same parallel that they're painting with the new Captain America. Like, he's this flawed person. Tony Stark was also this flawed person, but it's just they both taken different routes and how they're dealing with being flawed.
That's an interesting perspective, dude, because I mean, Tony was on the cusp of killing Bucky. Like, if Cap wasn't there, if Bucky wasn't able of defending himself, I think Tony might have killed him. So that's a very interesting perspective, because if Tony did that in front of the entire world, we would kind of be in the same position as John Walker right now. But Iron Man is not the symbol of hope for America and the world. It's Steve Rogers.
But would you say Iron Man would you say he's a good man though?
Yes. I think Tony is a good man. He's just a fuck up. Right? I think Tony's just a fuck up. Like, when he created Ultron, he had the greatest sense of justice in mind. He wanted to create Ultron in his words, to create a suit of armor around the world. Much like Superman, he can't be everywhere in the world, right? But with Ultron, with the Ultron bots and the Avengers, you could be every place around the world trying to help everyone. So he was trying to do all of the right things. He's just a fuck up. I don't think that John Walker is that same type of person, because his first inkling is violence, though. Look at what Sam did in the episode. The first thing that he wanted to do with Carly is talk her down, bro. Because even though she murdered two people, she is just a person who is a freedom fighter trying to lash out, and she thinks that this is the best way.
Let me give you a parallel there. When Tony Stark was kidnapped by those terrorists, he went out and he killed all of them. Those terrorists were angry because Stark weapons were being used against their country. Stark killed them, bro. But
the 10 Rings were using Stark tech to terrorize countries, bro. Entire countries. They used those weapons to subjugate countries. That's not the same thing in my mind.
So you feel like they deserve to die, but those super soldiers, they don't?
Not deserve to die, and I definitely don't think the Flag Smashers deserve to die. But I don't know, man.
But the terrorists do deserve to die. But they're both doing the same things. They're both killing people. And Tony Stark killed people.
The Flag Smashers killed 2 people. The 10 Rings murdered thousands to tens of thousands of people. Like, I feel like that's just a different level. And again, the Flag Smashers are freedom fighters. They are fighting for freedom. They are stealing food. They're stealing meds, resources to help displace people that the government claim that they're helping. And people are starving, living on the streets. To me, that's different. They're rising up to take a stand. And yes, Carly went way too far. And none of the Flag Smashers agree with her, but they're willing to follow her because of what she stands for. The 10 Rings, they are a true terrorist organization who only wants resources from all of these organizations. They will kill men, women, children. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't feel like that's the same thing.
Okay, maybe not even the flags, not the Flag Smashers, the 10 Rings, but what about the people that in Iron Man 3? I know you hate this film anyway. The people that were like genetically mutated. Tony Stark was killing them as well, but they were just people that were war veterans trying to get their limbs back.
I'll give you that.
Then they ended up working for this organization, but Tony Stark killed them, bro. So like the same parallels that Tony Stark has is the same with this new Captain America, bro. Like, bro, and you say Tony Stark's a good man. Tony Stark is flawed, just like I believe this new Captain America is flawed, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't argue with that. I just feel slightly differently, but you make really good points, dude. It's definitely something that I didn't even think about. Like, Jordan, where do you stand on this?
I agree. I feel like I'm learning. I feel like I'm seeing some different viewpoints that I didn't allow myself to see. I feel like I've just kind of part of it. I feel like it's the nostalgia of it. Where I've my Captain America was Steve Rogers. It's Chris Evans. Boom. That's a full stop. To see somebody else have the costume now, even if it was Sam, I don't know. I feel like it's never going to live up to what we already know, what I'm loving already. But it's cool to see a different story. It's cool to just see how it unfolds and see where it's going. I feel like John Walker. I don't know if this is a story of redemption. Like, is this now a redemption story, or is he going to get worse and worse from here?
I feel like he's going to get worse. He's going to get worse. 100%.
It's going to get worse and worse, bro.
Once you get your first murder, the second one comes naturally, bro.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. That's how it goes.
Yeah. So let's start at the top of the episode. Let's start at the top of this new episode. We start 6 years ago in Wakanda with AO and Bucky, working with him, trying to release him from the Winter Soldier programming, right? I thought that was a brilliant scene. The moment that I saw that it was Wakanda and I heard the score, I was standing up in my chair, bro. I loved it so much. I love the Dora Milaje. I love AO. And watching her work with him, you instantly get the connection that they've had, right? Because I highly doubt that Bucky has this connection with all of the Dora Milaje. So when AO shows up at the end of episode 3, with this beginning, you now see that connection way more between them. And why she feels betrayed by Bucky letting Zemo out of prison, knowing what Zemo cost them, right? So I love that scene with AO going through the phrases, trying to see if Bucky will turn. And then the acting by Sebastian Stan in that scene, like, just like trying to fight the programming and realizing when he can beat it. He actually smiled, bro. Like, that made me so happy inside, because when was the last time we saw Bucky smile, right? That was before we lost him in the first Avenger. We haven't seen him smile. So to me, that was an amazing. Jordan, like, what did you think of that opening scene?
I feel like when I watched it, it didn't feel like TV. It felt like MCU. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like that's what you're always waiting for. You're waiting for those moments in the TV shows where you're like, okay, yeah, this feels like the movies. And that scene felt like the movies from beginning to end. When I heard the score, I was like, yeah, okay, let me tune in. Let me put my phone down. Let me put the snacks down. I'm watching. And that's what it felt like. And I got the same feeling, to be fair, in episode 1 when we was getting the dogfights with Sam. It gave me the same feeling. I thought they splashed the budget. They splashed the budget on this one. You can feel it, and I got that same feeling. Sebastian Stan, stand up, man, because it was a performance for sure.
I feel like it's a thing where Like that whole scene it's yeah, it's a comic book movie, but it's a very close relation to fighting your own demons. Like to see someone overcome their own demons is is a good thing in its own. And like I said, I feel like that resonated with me. And the whole thing with adding Wakanda in as well, like this, like we're finally going into the phase where everything just actually feels like a connected universe. Stuff gets thrown back to there, and with everything that's happened with the death of Chadwick Boseman as well, like we don't know what's happening with Wakanda, and I feel like every time people are watching Black Panther, it's kind of, how do I say, like bittersweet, if you know what I'm saying. So to see it back here in this fresh new take with the score, and to have a happy moment with the Winter Soldier, it really did stick with me. So yeah, I respect that a lot as well. I don't know what's gonna happen with Black Panther 2. I heard they're doing recastings for the Black Panther. I don't know what's going on.
Well, Kevin Feige and Ryan Coogler confirmed that they will not be recasting him.
Oh, okay, okay.
So that's going to be very interesting. I don't know if they're going to say he died on like a mission. I don't know if once we get to Black Panther 2 that they'll say that he's off on a mission and that's why he's not in the movie. I don't know, man. Like it's rough to think about, honestly, how they're going to continue without T'Challa and how that's going to affect Shuri, how it's going to affect the Queen and all of Wakanda itself, because Okoye, right? Like she thought she lost the king in the snap. She just gets him back, and then let's say within like a year or two, he's gone again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm really interested to see what Ryan Coogler and Marvel Studios will do. I know they'll handle it respectfully, but we'll see what happens.
It's one of those things that are bigger than movies, bro. It's one of those
For
things.
sure.
It's
Yeah.
bigger than a movie. Like I don't know, man. I don't. Boy, I remember. Obviously, I don't want to get too deep into it, but when it happened, bro, like I just didn't feel right, fam. Like for a good couple of days, it's one of those things that transcends.
Yeah,
For
it
sure.
broke me, honestly. Like I love Chadwick. I love all of his movies, except one. There is this one where he was a cop. I can't remember the name of the
I
movie.
remember that one. I remember seeing it advertised. I thought, oh, this might be good, but nah, it was shit, bro. I can't even
Yeah,
like
it
when they lock
was
off
it was not a
they
good
lock
movie.
off the they lock off
21
the whole
Bridges. 21
21
Bridges.
21
Bridges.
bridges.
Yes,
That's the one. Yeah.
it's like he's really good in it, but I'm like, dude, this is like the most generic thing possible. But it's like I think he's a really good actor. He never misses, and
For sure.
we are going to definitely feel his presence missing whenever we get there. But jumping back to Falcon and Winter Soldier, how do you feel about Zemo's stance when it comes to super soldiers? Like he even references that he thinks the Avengers are much like the Nazis because having a group of people with having so much power and so much like deciding power over like what happens, who gets saved, right? Like he feels like they're kind of the same. And I hate that comparison. Like I get where he's coming from, but I hate that comparison that he makes between the Avengers and the Nazis and just the fact that super soldiers exist in general. So LS, like what do you think about that?
Like I keep on saying, bro, this is a whole thing of matter of perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing where to understand Nazis, yeah, you have to looking back in history. I used to love a bit of history, and looking back in history, the Nazi soldiers were fighting for what they believed were right at that time, and they were flawed people. And I don't know how I'm gonna try to compare this to the Avengers, like Zemo is, just understand his standpoint. But it's like, please don't think this is my like ideals at all. But it's just to understand. But Zemo sees them as people that are fighting for what is right, but you have people within that own group that are flawed, just like you have people within the Nazi group which are flawed. Some people are killing because they believe it's the right thing, just like you have people in Avengers that are killing because they think that the right thing. But then you got some Avengers that won't kill. Everyone's fighting for a unified goal, just like how the Nazi party was. And some people have different ways of doing that. So in a way, I understand where Zima's coming from. And it's always this thing with superheroes of, could you rely on superheroes to have that much power? And sometimes you can't, because Tony Stark makes mistakes. And sometimes you can, because Captain America doesn't make mistakes. He's like this perfect person. So in a way, I understand Zemo, But you need to understand, most of the Avengers didn't have this connotation of racism, so then I don't think they're very similar at all. But I was just trying to understand Zima's point.
Yeah, I like that, Jordan.
Um, I don't know, man. I feel like what's the alternative? Like I do understand I do understand what he's saying. You know, he kind of in a world where you have superheroes and you're kind of giving up. You're giving a lot to them. You're giving freedoms away to these people that are coming in and kind of saying that they're on top. But what's the alternative? Because when shit hits the fan, you could do with an Iron Man, or I feel like you could do with a Captain America, and I feel like he's fighting really hard for this. But it's like, but then what happens afterwards? What does he want afterwards? What's his? Is he a world domination kind of dude? Like is he wanting to be like a Lex Luthor kind of controls all the business, or is he wants to see everything just burn?
I feel like he's a
I
very.
don't know which one he is.
I feel like he's an action when action is needed. Use the super soldiers that are able to control, that don't have these ulterior and motives. So basically, like how we was talking about Robot, how he has these like perfect soldiers that would be perfect for if something bad was to happen. So, for example, like with the whole ideal with Zemo, he's angry about what happened in Sokovia with his family, etc. He believes that if he had his own super soldiers, you'd be able to tell them like, oh, make sure you handle it this way and not the way that, say, Tony Stark would handle it, because Tony Stark is a person, he's flawed, where these super soldiers would be under one control and believe that everything will be done perfectly. So that's his alternative.
See, this is the thing though, like even before the events of Sokovia, like Zemo in the MCU was a part of an organization that wanted to stop Hydra. They wanted to stop the tests of creating super soldiers. So I think he's of the mind of destroying the idea of super soldiers in general and letting normal people fight their own battles. Like the reason why I think he hates Tony Stark is because Tony Stark overstepped, right? In creating Ultron, he almost wiped out all life on the planet. He wiped out Sokovia isn't even a country anymore. Sokovia has been absorbed. During the blip, it was absorbed into another country. And the only thing that's left of Sokovia is this monument. And he just feels like people with all of this power shouldn't exist. And these types of decisions should be made by normal men and women, right? And I kind of like that in a way, right? Because he feels like these people with this type of power, if they choose to make their own decisions, if they choose to go against the government, to go against the grain, who's going to stop them? What Avengers team exists to stop them? And this is where Thunderbolt Ross comes in as well, right? Like, because he doesn't like the Avengers at all, and he's working on the Weapon Plus program, still trying to create his own super soldiers. And real quick, I think Thunderbolt Ross is the power broker, potentially. Last week, Nova brought up that the power broker could potentially be Zola reincarnated into like a different computer, right? And that's how he's able to like always find where Carly is and the Flag Smashers and all that stuff. So I want to know, like, what do you guys think? Who do you, Jordan? I want to start with you. Who do you think the power broker could possibly be? There's a lot of theories out there.
Man, what a question.
Because some people think it's Sharon, some people think it's Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah,
some people think. Go ahead.
I haven't even thought about it, you know, like there's so much happening that I actually haven't taken the time to be like, yo, who the fuck is actually doing all this? Like, no, I ain't even taking the time. But now you said Ross, it's like, could it be? Because where the fuck was he? Like, he has a grudge against the Avengers anyway, bro. And you know he's been on this super soldier business from fucking 2008 with the Hulk film, fam. So, bro, fuck me, man. Nah, I never thought about it, bro. I can't lie. There's just so much shit happening. Yeah,
because I don't think he got blipped, and I think not having the Avengers around when they were needed, if you will, I feel like he still feels more than ever that he has to create an army of super soldiers so that the Accords can protect the world, right? Where was I going with that? The difference with with Sharon being like I don't subscribe to Sharon being the power broker, because what does she get out of having an army of super soldiers, right? What does she get out of that? Thunderbolt Ross has always wanted to replace the Avengers, which is why I think it could be him. He would have the money, he would have the resources to like funnel money from the government to have this scientist work on that stuff. Because another thing, that same scientist that Zemo killed in the previous episode was working with Ross previously, working on the Weapon Plus program under a completely different name.
How the fuck do you know that?
Because I'm JB, bro.
Bro, how the fuck, bro? Sometimes I think I'm analyzing stuff, and then I'll talk to James, and I'll be like, you know what, bro? I ain't analyzing shit.
No,
bro.
but from the comics, right? Like that scientist went under different aliases. So in the comics, that scientist was actually alive in the 40s and the 50s, working on Isaiah. He was actually working on Isaiah, trying to get the formula from his DNA, right? But in the MCU, he's in present day, and one of those aliases was written on a vial or a bag of something of the super soldier serum from the 2008 Incredible Hulk movie that was injected into Abomination. So it's like, it's crazy, bro. It really could be Ross. I think it is. Like, I just don't see what Sharon would gain from having an army of super soldiers. It goes against everything that Peggy stood for. It goes against everything Steve stood for, she stood for. I know people can change in 5 years, but I feel like that's such a huge jump to, oh, now I want to create an army of super soldiers. I don't buy it.
Yeah, I don't understand Sharon's motives. I don't know what she's really here for. Because then, like you said, that she if I'm right, she said that she's banned from the USA, but I feel like she's still working with the USA. I don't know her motives, so I don't think she would be one. I feel like it would be a cop out to use Zola. What's his name? Zola. I feel like it would be a cop out to use Zola. And I think you're on the nail here. I think it is Ross.
Why do you feel like it would be a cop out?
Because, oh, come on, man. I'm sick and tired of this fucking guy, bro. Don't bring him back, man. I can't be him, bro.
To be fair, we've never actually seen full on Zola, right? Like in like his new like his android suit. We haven't seen any of that. So it could be a unique opportunity to bring Zola back, because I feel like they killed him off too quickly in Winter Soldier, and much like Ultron, why not just have a copy of yourself on a different drive, right? Like, Zola was so smart, he outsmarted everyone in S.H.I.E.L.D. and planted seeds for Hydra for 70 plus years, bro. So it would make sense to me that he would have a backup somewhere else. But for me personally, I'm still going to go with Ross. Jordan, what about you? Like, who do you think it could be?
I think you're making a good point for Ross. You're making a very good point for Ross. I feel like we've been introduced to Sharon too early for it to be her. Like it wouldn't feel satisfying now if it turned out to be her. I feel like I wouldn't like that. And I feel the same way. I'm not too sure what she's doing. I'm trying to think outside the box. I'm trying to think who. Let me throw a name in here who just. We couldn't be seeing what's his name come back. The man who begins it all, maybe Brainiac, or but it doesn't make no sense. Mr. Samuel L. Jackson, Mr. Sam Jack.
Nick Fury. I mean,
Mr. Fury.
He's working with Sword though. Like, he's doing a lot of stuff with Sword right now, and he's in space.
That's the thing with the MCU, bro. You don't know, fam, because they dashed Evan Peters in there as flipping Quicksilver and that, bro. I just don't know with these, man, bro. I don't know, bro. I'm gonna go. It's one of those things that I'll get myself sick if I keep on overthinking it.
The Evan Peters thing is okay with me because that's just the multiverse, right? There's different versions of people in each universe. In one universe, he's Quicksilver, he's Pietro Maximoff, and in the MCU, he's Ralph Boner.
Why did they do that, bro? Like, I'm still angry with that, you know.
I don't know. Like, I was watching an interview with one of the main writers of the show, and he just thought that it would be great to have Evan Peters, and it would be a great gag for his name to be Ralph Boner, because Boner was a character from Growing Pains. That was Leonardo DiCaprio's character on Growing Pains. So he just thought it would be another like TV Easter egg to have the name be that. But who knows? He could still have some greater use within the MCU later on. Who knows if Agatha's powers and Wanda's powers mixed together could change his DNA? We don't know what could happen,
No,
right?
I don't know. I actually don't know where the MCU is heading. Like I'm watching all these stuff. Like, yeah, this is interesting. The fuck is going on? I feel like it's very reminiscent to 2013, 2012 when I was going to Jordan in the library for theories, and I feel like it's very reminiscent of that. I just don't know what the fuck is going on. There was a period where I knew what was happening, like at the end of Infinity War. I was like, nah, they're gonna come back in Endgame, use that quantum theory stuff. But now I don't fucking know, man.
But let's jump to the scene in the show where Sam tells John Walker that let me go talk to Carly. I have dealt with people that have dealt with trauma for a long time. Let me talk to her. And I feel like this was a moment for John Walker to see this as a hero moment. It's not all about shooting guns, throwing the shield, and punching, right? If you can see someone, you should try to talk to them first, bro. That's what a hero's first inkling should do. Talk them down, and if that doesn't work, subdue them so that they can then be arrested. So, like, what did you guys think about that scene of Sam and Carly talking to each other and him just trying to talk her down?
I think it was perfectly setting up why Sam is next in line to take the shield. It was just like this is what I've been waiting for him to do this whole time. Show us why you are Captain America, or why you're the next up. And I feel like it just pushed the two of them further apart. It pushed Sam and John further apart from each other, which is nice. It's building up to a nice crescendo. Do you know what I mean? I can see it all rising. I can see where we're headed to, and it was a nice push in the right direction.
And then again, here I go with the matter of perspective of can you always take that risk? Like they really have to know what they're up against. Like if Thor was in that situation, do you think Thor's talking his way out of this? No. Thor is hammer spinning, grabbing each single one of them, and they're being captured, bro. Like it's just how it is. It's like he believed he had the power to capture them, and because he didn't at that moment and they escaped, his best friend died. Like, could you have taken the risk of them talking and for it to go either way, and then risk more civilians? And like we said, his best friend died because they didn't manage to catch him at that moment.
But that's the job of Captain America. The job of Captain America is to know when to do what. When is it right to talk and when is it right to do action? What John Walker's doing is this dude is just straight action.
Yeah, but that's John Walker's interpretation of Captain America, bro.
Because like, I feel like if he didn't interfere, if he let Sam continue to talk to Carly, I don't think he would have been able to completely talk her out of everything that she was doing.
You need to deep in 10 minutes. You're not going to be able to stop someone's whole ideal that they've had from this many years. They gave him 10 minutes, bro. Like, you can't take that risk, fam. You can't take that risk. So that's why I say, in a way, I agree with him, fam, and then she managed to escape. If they went in there all action at first and managed to get her when she was in that funeral place, because they would have been able to.
She would have escaped anyway.
I don't know, but you don't know. You don't know that.
I feel like she would have escaped anyway, and the same thing would have ended up happening anyway.
Nah, I don't think so, bro. He believed he could have captured her in that time.
He couldn't have. He didn't have the serum yet, and he was up against an army of super soldiers. He stood no chance. There's no way he would have caught them. Carly is way too fast. She's way too strong. She would have gotten away. If John Walker stepped in, she would have threw him like a rag doll and moved on. She would have run away. The same thing would have happened if they interacted. Like, I get where you're coming from. I definitely see that perspective and not wanting to take the chance. But it's on the hero to take that chance because talking to someone is the right choice first. You should not, like Jordan was just saying, you should not just choose action and violence. That's not the way. Yes, Did she kill 2 people and cause a lot of other people to be injured? Yes, but these people are still technically people who are trying to fight for freedom. You should at least try to talk to them first. And if negotiations don't work, then you give them the hands. But you take that risk. That is your job as a hero, bro.
Yeah. And you know what? Yeah, I feel like I do kind of agree. And I feel like that's what shows Falcon different to be from Captain America. As in Captain America, like, he would talk, but I don't remember Captain America holding many negotiations, if you know what I'm saying. He was still a man lost in this new world of technology and the way that people are. Like, Sam's been here and knows how people are. Sam, as he said, he helped with soldier therapy. And I feel like that's what makes him different. He's not a guy on serum. He's human and understands humans. And I feel like that's what makes him more of a mantle, I guess, than anyone else. Maybe even more of a mantle than Captain America could be.
Yeah, like he said in the episode, like, he just feels like the world could do better, and he's doing his part. He doesn't want the serum. He doesn't necessarily want the shield. He'll take it up because of what that symbol represents, especially at this point to take it away from John Walker. But he really is the perfect version of Captain America that we need right now. And think about it like this, LS, like, look at the movies that we've seen. Captain America has been in World War II. That was the first time we saw him, right? In Winter Soldier, he's still fighting the remnants of Hydra. So he's still fighting a war to some degree. In Civil War, he's fighting against the Accords and trying to save his friend. In Infinity War, Thanos comes in. He's constantly in a war. He hasn't really had the opportunity to fight against an antagonist to say that he's going to talk them down. You know what I mean? There is no talking to Hydra, right? There is no talking to Thanos with his convictions. So he hasn't even been in that position in the MCU to make that type of decision to just talk to someone. You know what I mean?
I feel like they should have dashed Falcon out to talk to Thanos. We might have not snapped anything. we might have got completely different. We might have got a completely different ending.
But I want to talk about one of my favorite moments of the entire episode. Probably my absolute favorite moment of the episode is where the Dora Milaje comes in and they just beat the shit out of everyone in the room. John Walker stood no chance, bro. I was watching that episode. I'm like, even with the super soldier serum, the Dora Milaje would whoop your ass, bro. You are nothing compared to the Dora. Like, Jordan, what do you think about that scene?
For sure. I think reminding us that they're there. They never left. They've been here the whole time. I thought they did it perfectly. And again, bringing us back to Black Panther, reminding us that Wakanda's still there. They're still thriving. They're still doing their thing. Was nice. I was like, I appreciated seeing them again. And I just love the fact that she said she'd be back. She said 8 hours. She gave them 8 hours. And she came back and collected what she came to collect. And I thought, you know what I'm saying? The whole sequence is just perfect. It was perfect.
Yeah, there's not much I can add on that other than what Jordan said, bro. Like, it was just nice to see, bro. Like, the whole 8 hours thing as well is like, oh no, bro, I don't even know what else to say, bro. I just love the scene. I just love the scene. I was just cheesing the whole way through. I was eating while watching it, and I just put down my food. I was just getting gas, bro.
I promise you, I was standing up for most of this episode because when I'm hyped, I get really hyped and I have to stand up. And I was losing my shit because I love the Dora Milaje. They are the most badass warriors on the planet, and they proved it. It doesn't matter if you have the shield. It doesn't matter if your body was studied at MIT, that you're the perfect physical specimen. That means nothing to the Dora, bro. He got his ass whooped. I love it when one of them threw the spear into the shield and he couldn't even get it out of the table. Like, he was just embarrassed to the highest degree, and he somehow feels in his twisted mind that having the serum is going to magically make everything different. And this is what I was saying before. It doesn't matter having the strength. None of that shit matters. If you are not a good man, it doesn't matter. That serum is only going to bring out more of what he is. And he is a not so good person who ended up having the mantle of Captain America. This is why Steve was against the Accords. The government doesn't know what's right for the regular people.
But I feel like he needed that humbling experience, though.
Oh, yeah.
He
But
needed it,
it,
like I
it,
said.
it only made it worse, especially after him taking the serum. Like you said,
Yeah.
after he's tasted blood, where does he go from here? So I'll also toss this to you guys. What does the government do from here? Because you have to believe in this day and age, right? Where we are in the Falcon and Winter Soldier, we are 5-6 years past 2021, right? So we know they're streaming. We know people are posting this video to social media. What does the government do? They have to take the shield away from him. They have to arrest him. So does he get away? Do they get to arrest him? Do they lock him up in the raft? Like, what happens at this point? And that's what I really love about what this series is doing right now. There's so many questions. Like, watching him kill that flag smasher, and that flag smasher was talking to Carly earlier, talking about he was a huge Captain America fan. To him, that shield was a symbol. But in a new day and age, he sees Carly as the same as Steve. So for him to be murdered by the very symbol that pretty much made him who he is today broke me, bro. Like, what did you guys think?
Poetic justice, bro. But like, we should just if it happened in this day and age, he'd probably be cancelled on Twitter firstly. But I feel like our expectations have been subverged, as in we were going into this series thinking that Falcon and Bucky were gonna be on the run. Maybe it's not them, bro. Maybe it is this new Captain America. Maybe he's gonna go power hungry from here, and the government are gonna have to approach them to bring him in to stop him on this rampage.
That's what I think too. Jordan?
Yeah. I think it built to that nice crescendo that I was talking about there, where it's like I was waiting for something to come that's going to tip this dude over the edge, and then it delivered, and I'm like, okay, and let me see where this goes when we go from here. You'd have to take the shield from him. You'd have to distance yourself. The government would have to distance themselves. So now it's like, what does this dude do on his own?
Yeah, because now he hasn't even have his voice of reason there, which was Lamar. Like, this guy is going to become a lost cause, a murderer, and people are going to know this. And I feel like after the whole ordeal, that's when they're going to ask him, Falcon, to be the Winter Soldier again. Not the Winter Soldier, sorry, Captain America. Sorry, my bad.
Nova brings up something interesting. Do you think the government could actually be like, oh, we're just going to put him on administrative leave?
Yes.
That would piss me off, bro.
Yes.
Imagine.
That seems like such a thing that the government would do because of how important he is. And that's wrong, man.
And you can keep the shield. You can keep the shield with you whilst you're on leave. You can keep the equipment.
Bro, I feel like the government's just going to argue that person was a terrorist, so they were right. Like, the government's never going to back down on their word, ever. So I feel like that's what's going to happen. I feel like they're going to allow him to do what he needs to do.
Yeah, I think he goes on the run after this. And if there is a season 2, I said this before, but if there is a season 2, I think it's going to be about Sam and Bucky trying to go after him and stop him, and also stopping the power broker. So this is another thing that I think. I think that Walker is going to go on the run and will be taken in by the power broker to, one, try to extract whatever he could from his blood to try to recreate the serum again, especially after his main scientist is dead. And Walker is going to need a benefactor for him to continue doing whatever he's doing. So now the power broker will have even more muscle against the flag smashers, against the Avengers, and anyone who would oppose him. What do you guys think about that?
Should I go first? Oh yeah, I swear this is the same type of serum that kind of made the Hulk, right?
It's a different version.
Well then, yeah, I feel like I feel like he's one of those people that's going to be maybe very easy to manipulate. And like you said, you're going to have this hulking fucking fake Captain America under the influence of the flag smashers, etc. And it's just going to be all mad.
I don't know. I feel like you somebody like that, you don't control. There is no control. There is no control when it comes to that. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing somebody now who operates outside of all of these, whatever we've known before, Sokovia Accords and fighting within your own kind of realms. This dude is smashing everything that we thought we knew about Captain America. He's changing up the whole game, and I don't know if there is nothing you can do to control something or someone like that. It's just this is where Bucky, when he's trying to get his redemption for all of the things that's happened in the past, this is it.
This is it, because he
take him down.
He'll basically be stopping like a next type of Winter Soldier, basically, who is basically a murderer. I feel like Bucky's going to see a lot of things that he sees in himself in this new Captain America, murdering for what he believed or was right, or murdering for being under control. And I feel like this is where Bucky's redemption arc will come in.
For sure.
Yeah, man. I love the way the show is going. I love that the Flag Smashers are not just a group of like generic villains. Like these are people fighting for the people that can't fight for themselves, right? I love that Zemo is also not just this generic villain. He wants to see super soldiers wiped from the planet because he's seen the damage that is caused by these super soldiers. Even though Bucky didn't have control over what he was doing, for 80 years, the Winter Soldier has systematically murdered key people in organizations all across the globe. Imagine if any organization was able to do that program, to have an army of super soldiers that can do the same thing all over again, and then we have another Hydra. So he is also fighting for freedom as well. You know what I mean? Like,
I was just gonna say, I feel like this is what the MCU is trying to do now with these episodes, is by fleshing out villains. Like in movies, villains they felt so secondary, whereas now villains, they feel right here at the forefront. We saw it in Wanda and in WandaVision, sorry, with the whole thing with Agatha, like Agatha always being there, a constant presence. Now, even in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, sorry, we're seeing the villains there as a constant presence that we are going to, how do I say, remember more because we've had more time with them.
Yeah, you're getting to know the villains just as well as the heroes.
Exactly.
Whereas before, I know exactly what you're saying. It was just the villains served the story, and you learn. It's all about learning about the hero, and the villain is like it sets up the rest of the story, but it's not too important.
Exactly. Now, like I'm sitting here even arguing points for this new Captain America, like we're fucking boys, but it's a villain that I can argue a point for. Like I can't argue many other villain points in any of the MCU genre other than Thanos.
Sure.
Thanos did nothing wrong.
He didn't.
No, he didn't, bro.
Jordan, you bring up a great point. Like, all of the majority of the villains in the MCU, they only served a purpose to move the story and the characters along. They never had real, actual characterizations, and I like that we're getting that now in these series, and it just proves that these types of stories should be told in this way, right? Trying to tell these stories in 90 minutes, although it does work in 98% of the MCU movies, but it's better when you have time to actually flesh out these characters, bro. Because like you said earlier on in the episode, LS, like, Zemo didn't get any real characterization in Civil War. He was just a guy out for revenge because Tony Stark killed his family, right? Which is something you completely empathize with. And I empathize with John Walker when he loses Lamar. Lamar was his conscience, right? His best friend. They fought in Afghanistan together. They have that conversation where they talk about the fact that imagine if we had that serum in Iraq, in Afghanistan. Look at what we could have done if we had that serum, right? Exactly what Captain America did in World War II, right? But John Walker is taking it in the wrong direction. And it's like, I like seeing how complex he is, and I don't like him. I hate him. But when Lamar died, I felt everything that he felt in that moment, losing his best friend, and it broke me, honestly, bro.
You know the villain's gonna be good when the actor has to tweet out, guys, I'm just playing a role, please don't send any hate my way. Like, you know that villain's gonna be on piss. You know it, fam. Like, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, for sure. He's setting a gold standard for. He's depending on how it goes, I can see him jumping up into realms of my favorite MCU or Marvel villains. I
Yeah,
see him jumping up. You know what I'm
people
saying?
you love to hate, like you can sit there and have a conversation about why you hate John Walker.
Yeah,
Before I couldn't even sit there and have a conversation about why I hated Zemo. I forgot his motives completely, fam. But
yeah,
yeah, I feel like
yeah.
this is a good direction for the MCU, 100%.
Yeah, because I mean, think about it like this, right? Like you've already brought up and we've talked about it, but John Walker wants to do good. Like he said in this episode, he took up the mantle of Captain America because he felt like he could do good differently instead of just murdering people in, you know, Afghanistan. And that's what he ends up doing at the end of this episode. Like he wants to be a good person so bad. Again, that's why he trained so hard, that's why he took up the mantle, but he's just not the right person, man.
Yeah,
But
it's like
I
it's one of those things where you can't try to be someone you're not. You can't try to be a good person. You should just be a good person, like that. It's
yeah,
like that type of parallel.
I can't fault him. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a perfect person. Like, I have my bad moments, you know what I mean? But I strive to be good. I strive to be good to the people around me, to the people that I care about. And like I said before, I would definitely, like, if I didn't, like, get my degree in music, I was going to become a soldier. I do believe in fighting for what's right and doing what needs to be done because you have the ability to do so. And that's what John Walker is doing. I can empathize with that. I can align with him in that aspect. But it's like his general personality, he was not the right person. He should have just been a soldier that takes orders. He is not the right person to be a captain, to be a general, giving orders because he would do things the wrong way.
Yeah, and I
He
feel like
doesn't.
that's the whole thing that you were saying, like sympathizing. Like, I'm sitting here now. Now you said you'd become a soldier. I'm sitting here now. I'm thinking if I was on a battlefield and I saw Jordan get killed, person that killed Jordan's getting deaded, bro. I can't lie. If I have the ability to kill
Exactly,
that
bro.
person's getting killed. Come on, bro. It's a ride or die. You know what I'm saying? But does that make my actions right? Probably no. And if people recorded it, they'll probably call me a dickhead. So yeah, like I said, it's about a matter of sympathy
Yeah.
and perspective.
It's just the thing, the symbol of Captain America. You're not in war times, bro. Like your job was to subdue that person and arrest them. Whatever the court system, however corrupt it is, that's the system that we have in place, and they're supposed to be judge, jury, and executioner. This is what Ross didn't want. He didn't want metas to be judge, jury, and executioner, and this is exactly what Walker is doing. That's not your place. I get
Yeah.
it. I get it. He killed your friend. Look at Steve. Steve thought Bucky was dead. He did not go out and start killing Germans.
Are you
Right?
sure?
This is
In those war scenes, it looked like he killed a few of them. I
No,
can't lie.
he was definitely killing them. I just mean like directly after Bucky died, he didn't just go out on a rampage and just started to kill random Germans, right?
Yeah,
He was on the battlefield and he did what he had to do on the battlefield.
So you think
yeah.
that killing, as long as it's for duty, is okay then?
I mean, war is complicated, right? And we
It
can
is.
spend a long time talking about that, but war is really, really complicated. Like I feel like if you can arrest someone and put them in prison for their crimes, that should be your first action. But when it comes to war, that's just way differently. That's just way different, right?
I understand. I understand.
Yeah. But I want to get your final thoughts on this episode before we head out tonight. Jordan, I want to get your final thoughts on this episode.
My final thoughts are I like where it's going. This again has felt like I started off episode 1 really excited for what was to come. I've been enjoying the little morsels and the little bits and pieces I'm getting about these guys' story arcs, and then this episode is coming with a bang. It's like, okay, here's the next chapter, and I'm excited to see how does John Walker unfold. Who does he become? What does this mean for his story? What does it mean for Sam? Him talking to Carly this episode stood out as a moment where it's like, cool, this is the guy that we're dealing with. I can root for this guy, and so you're starting to pick sides now. So I'm looking forward to what comes next and how it wraps up and links with everything else. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. LS?
Yeah, like I said, I went into this series with not much expectations, just expecting it to be I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a buddy cop type of thing. Like you hardly get any of those any days, so any more these days. So I was like, you know, I'm not too excited for it. But the more I've watched it now, and I feel like especially with this episode, it's really warmed me up to this grounded universe. It's grounded. Like before, like One Division, it's all about like flipping magic and stuff. And even with Loki coming up, that's all gonna be about like stuff in space. And I feel like this is the grounded takes that I liked from Winter Soldier, Civil War, where it really does make you question the morality of some people. So, for, like from a writing standpoint, I think it's excellent. I'll probably come out of this series respecting Falcon and the Winter Soldier a lot more than I had in the past, as not seeing them anymore as secondary characters, but seeing them as main characters in their own light. And I feel like that's what the MCU intended, and I feel like that's what I'm getting from this. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. Can't wait to see how it folds out. And well, on to Loki we go. And well, Black Widow, but I will definitely be streaming that illegally. I'm saying that now. I ain't paying no £30, bro.
Come
The
on.
cinemas are going to be open in the UK, bro.
Damn.
You're
Bro,
on camera saying that,
I
bro.
don't give a
This
bro.
is for life.
Listen, if you pay £30 to watch it on Disney Plus, you're moist. I can't lie to you, man.
Well, I'll be seeing it. I'm fortunate enough to be in Nashville where it's not, coronavirus is not that terrible right now. So
Yeah, you're lucky, bro. If the cinema was open, I'll go.
yeah, so I'll be there opening night to see Black Widow. But I love this
respect
series, man. I love this series. I love, again, that these WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier have been character pieces more than anything else. They've really been diving into these characters that haven't had the greatest like motivation and stories throughout the MCU. And I'm really excited for Loki because Loki has had a great arc throughout the MCU, and now we're going to see Loki experiencing life after the events of the first Avengers movie in an alternate timeline. So that's going to be very, very interesting to see how all of that plays out.
Yeah,
and
I feel like just to add on what you were saying there, it's just about making secondary characters and giving them their own limelight. It's like seeing Loki without Thor. Like, what is Loki going to be like without Thor? And I feel like that's a good way to staple him as a main character, just like they're doing with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Sorry to cut you off, bro. Sorry.
No, you good.
Thought it was good.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, because I want to see how Loki will interact with the Thor of this timeline, right? Because all of that redemption that Loki got after the events of the first Avengers movie, that's all gone. You know what I mean? So in this alternate timeline, he's still the god of mischief that we know. And how is he going to interact with everyone, right? So Loki is going to open up another realm of the MCU that's going to be interesting. It's going to be the first thing that we've had that actually is going to mess around with alternate timelines. So that's going to be really, really interesting. And I love to see where it goes, man. The MCU, they don't miss a lot, man. They've been on point for almost everything that they've produced, and I absolutely love it. Jordan, do you have any social medias or like anything that you wanna plug or anything?
But before he says anything, just to bear in mind, Jordan Wilks is an aspiring actor, and if you ever need him for a role, he is your guy. Honestly, if you're ever looking for any type of British talent or overseas talent to include in any of your work, Jordan Wilks is your guy. Even if it comes to voice acting, he is your guy. I've grown with Jordan since school times, and I've seen the actor that Jordan has become growing up, and it's nice to see. So honestly, if you're looking for someone to get involved with that, you have a person right there.
Damn. Thank you very much. What more do I say, man? At Jordan J Wilks is me. That's me everywhere. If you can find me there on everything at Jordan J Wilks. Thank you, man.
Cool. LS?
Well, yeah, this is like my third or fourth time interacting with anyone from anime lately. Careful for Spoilers is like kind of like the brother company of anime lately. And honestly, Careful for Spoilers Villas has been one of my favorite shows. I'm honored to be here.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on again. You can find me at LSF_96_red on Twitter. Same for Instagram. And if you're ever bored, you want to read some manga that has some stuff about conflicting morals, etc., Shade of Red is there. It's all webtoon, it's free. And yeah, honestly, James, thank you again for having me on.
Yeah, man.
For sure, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I enjoyed having both of you guys here. Jordan, it was great to meet you, man. Like, I actually have to get you back on the podcast really soon, man. I like the way your
I'm
mind
here.
works when it comes to comics and these shows and everything. So I appreciate both of you guys being here. Vash, thank you for showing up. I know you're really, really busy tonight, man. I really appreciate you showing up for the Invincible review. Vash will be back on the next episode for the whole thing, depending on his schedule, of course. But again, thank you guys so much for being here. LS, like this dude, Shade of Red. If you haven't read Shade of Red, please do it. Shade of Red is 5 chapters in right now on Webtoon. You can find all of that info in the description below. The reason why I wanted to have LS on this show is because he is a great storyteller, and I wanted him on this show to listen to his different perspectives from where all of these different characters are coming from. He has a really unique insight into what it's like creating characters and creating their backstory and figuring out where they're going to go in the future. So being able to pick your mind was definitely something that I really wanted on this show, and I can't wait to have you back, bro. Seriously, I love having you here again. Jordan, it was great to meet you, man, and we will see you guys on the next one.